Hey guys, welcome to my channel Code Learner Plus. I'm Prashant Kumar Sharman and I will be teaching you how to code in C. Just like and subscribe my channel so you will get the updates for all the courses and content related to the programming. On my channel, I'll be teaching you almost every programming language which will help you throughout your academics and the professional field. Currently you all must be doing a lot of academic works and you must be thinking of finding some good contents regarding the programming. So here we are. So let's get started.
I'll be chasing colors.
So, as you should know that C is a very essential programming language to develop and learn the concept of real-world programming. In fact, you can create a whole office system through it. Yeah, exactly. The Unix was developed completely on C. I'll be telling you all these facts and figures and all the technical details about this language in this coming videos, and then later on we'll be moving towards programming and coding. In this course I'll be teaching you like about how to code in C. Later we'll see how the competitive programming will be done, which will help you to crack the campus exams or the technical exams, which for all the programming students are required to do for the campus selection. And in the end, we'll do some projects. So without wasting time, let's start C. Okay, so guys, you must be wondering why this language C is given the name C. It is because the laboratories where it was developed, the previous language was known as B. There's nothing so much superficial about it. Okay, so at which laboratories it was developed? It was developed at the AT&T laboratory, and it was situated in America, and it was the only monopolistic biggest telecom company in America till date. Well, so the founders of this AT&T were none other than Alexander Graham Bell, Gardner Green Hubbard, and Thomas Sanders. These three have actually revolutionized the telecom industry. Well, so the B language, how it came? At Bell Laboratory, there were two people, Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. They were the one who developed the B language. Well, so let's just brief out the features of B. B was designed for a recursive and non-numeric machine independent application. Just like they wanted the application to be free from the form of calculator. You know, all the calculators that was used earlier were very much like a centric to a button, and each button was a constant. It does not apply any other features. Like if you want to just pass a message, it cannot pass. So it will just only throw a number. This was changed in B. In order to, just keep all the textual data with the program, or in order to publish a textual data, or you want to keep a repetitive number to the addition, or you want to just use a particular value for a multiple time for addition, subtraction, or division, the B was used. Why it was so much popular at that point of time? It was a typeless language. Why it was typeless? The reason behind it, that you can carry a variable, put a value into it, and use that variable multiple times. So you don't have to assign a particular value to the particular number at a multiple point of time. This reduced the usage of memory and created a very short version for each and everything. Okay, well, the context was developed either to be an integer or a memory address. This happened to be when the RAM came into the working. Usually, earlier there were no RAM, so all the calculations were done at the real time. But when the RAM came, the calculation can be postponed to a very certain amount of time. Like you can assign a value at a very particular period, and then in the end, you can just pass on the value. Okay, so that was a bit of a different aspect of this B language. That has basically put, you know, it has basically anchored the growth of the computer languages in the future. So, how C was developed? C programming was developed by keeping an agenda, or to just enhance the B to be very much journally, or mostly like a general purpose language. So what is the meaning of general purpose language in this case? That it can be coded on any platform by anybody universally. Okay, so the codes will be same for each software development. They will fix functions, fix iterators, the number value will be same, the variables can be assigned in the same manner. The whole set was a journal or the universal. Okay, it has a procedure. That's why it's called a procedural language. The reason behind it is that you have to write the code in a specific manner. That's why it does not differentiate from the user to user. And it can be readable for each and every person. Next, the imperative computer programming is much more essential at that point of time because apart from calculation, there were a lot of data coming in. So, in order to process that much amount of data, the program was developed in order to sustain a multiple time working and later on the development of the operating system, Unix. Well, C is the most widely used computer language and it keeps on fluctuating with the scale of popularity with the Java program, or we can say the Java. Well, why it is so that in the later 90s, the whole C was developing through many contexts, and as it has developed the whole operating system, and Java came into the play after that. Keep taking all that assembler and coding essentials from C. It has inherited a lot of things from C, and it started working very close neck to neck with the C language. The Java actually works on the DOS. If you know how to run it through the environment console, you can actually run the program in your DOS. Okay. Similarly, C was also working on a DOS. It is the core level programming. We all know it is a core level programming language. So the language was very much, you know, concentrated to the system. And that is why the companies at that point of time were either using C to develop the softwares or Java for the machines. Okay, the C actually has an advantage due to many things. First of all, was the language. The language was so much formalized that about the American Standard Code of Information Interchange, ASCII codes. Yeah. So ASCII codes were developed at that point of time so that the coding will be universally same for each and everything. So if you press A on your keyboard, that will be A in some other system as well. It won't change its type or the format. Okay. Similarly, the Unix was completely written in C. Later on, that Unix was developed into Linux that we all use now. Okay, and C is the widely used as a system programming language. Whenever you need to develop a system or assembler or a computer language or anything, C is the base part of all those things. Because it was called a state of art. You know, the C was able to interact with each and everything through a hardware to consoles, even the Apollo mission. A lot many things were coded at that point of time in C language. The whole hardware console were developed on board systems were developed in the C. Even in the later phase, your MySQL that carries all data structures and all was even developed and written on C. You know, C was initially used for the system development purpose, but later on, as its process goes on, it has inherited a lot of things. It was used as a system development language, which runs so fast. That's why your system boots in a very less time. It doesn't take much more time of that. Even as Linux is completely coded into C, if you boot your system, which has Linux into it, and the other one which has Windows into it. The Linux will boot at a very short time, in a very less burst as compared to the Windows one. Well, let me just quote up few general usage of C language. It used to develop the operating system, it's a language compiler, it creates assembler, text editor are done into it, Print spoolers are coded by C, network drivers, modem programs, databases, language interpreter, utilities, and lot many things. You just count endlessly. Whatever things you feel, you think, everything is continuously coded and developed by C. Even the latest of the latest things are still being used, you're still being developed by C. And that is the most widely spread thing. Well, due to the coming of technologies and the requirements have been changed, the people have shifted towards Python or some of the languages of web development, but C will always be the key essential and the most hardware-centric programming language till date and in future. So guys, see you in the next video with some more details about C and what all components do we will be using into our programming set. Till then, thank you.